Money doesn't just come from one place. It drips, trickles, flows, and floods into our lives in different ways. Welcome to Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood, a podcast that explores the power of multiple income streams. Tony, we have a long-awaited guest with us today. My husband, Gary, is finally here after, what do we have, like 20, 22 episodes?
I know he's been big time in us.
Diva behavior. Say hello, hon.
Oh man, my agent requires a lot. I know. I'm sorry, guys. My fault.
We paid big bucks to have him on today. All right, let's start. I thought we could start with the story about, want to tell them the story about our personal financial statement, how that came to be?
Oh yeah. So my background is in finance, and I don't think I ever really did a personal financial statement for us. I knew what it was. Basically, a personal financial statement is just listing everything you own. I walked around my whole house and looked at every asset we had, made a list of all the liabilities we had. So now every month we have, at the end of the month, an exact number of what our net worth is. So we can actually see if it's increasing or decreasing. Are we actually saving our investments, doing what they're supposed to be doing? So that was a fun little project. I think it was very eye-opening for Melissa, who is very good at keeping her head down and working and making money, and almost sometimes doesn't even know like where it goes. And that's my job. And when I showed her the personal financial statement, she's like, "Whose is that?" And I'm like, "That's us." And she's, "Whoa, okay." But it motivates you to be like, "Oh wow, all that work I've been doing, it's there." So it was cool. It was good for us. It really opened up a lot of more communication with us. And yeah, I think it's been great. A great first step for us.
And I like, you're like, honey, don't forget to fill out your numbers.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. Okay, so you said your assets and your liabilities. Let's give some examples of some assets and some examples of some liabilities.
So assets, we have our, for one, cars, my motorcycle. Actually, I wouldn't even class those. What am I saying? They're not really, they're paid off, but artwork, collectibles, coins. I don't want to share a ton of what we have, obviously. I don't need.
But investments go in that asset category.
Yeah. And for me, I think part of what I like about assets is things that I can use. Like, I'm personally a watch guy, and I enjoy being able to wear something that it's not just another share of Microsoft. I collect vintage watches, usually precious metals. So there is appreciation based on what the commodity is doing as well. So for me, that's part of what I enjoy, is not necessarily art is another one, as I like to look at the painting. So I don't go to Home Goods and spend $40. A lot of people do that. That's great. I'd rather go to an art gallery and pay more and actually have something that could appreciate in value and that I get to enjoy every day when I walk by it, and it gives me a feeling. And yeah, our only liability is I have an Airstream van, so it's really easy to keep track of. And yeah, that's pretty much, I mean,
That van's in case Melissa boots you out.
of course. Yeah, it's fully solar. I got everything. I'm one bad stock trade away.
I know. That's what I always tell everybody. They ask how I got keep Lindsay around. I just say I'm a good earner. Yeah, but that's interesting. So as far as personal financial statements, I don't go around and do it monthly, but I do mine at least a couple times a year. I have a line of credit tied to some commercial shops that we own. And at least once a year, I'm doing my personal financial statement for the bank. But often I will do it at least one other time throughout the year. And yeah, for me, having that up to date, I think is a good tool, just if you're going to be borrowing some money. But it is also good to kind of understand where you're going and if your graph is moving in the right direction. So I like that you're doing that. And it sounds like you're actually getting probably more detailed than I am. I'm putting the big picture assets and stuff on there, but I think I leave a lot off. So I think that's a cool thing that you're taking care of.
Yeah, part of it is because like I need to know, because I do like options and some different derivatives trading as well. So I have to have a pretty detailed understanding of where my cash is, and I don't do any margin trading or anything like that, but I definitely like to know what bucket everything is in. Do I have too many T-bills? Do I have too many equities for where I feel like the market is? Am I short on commodities? That's one thing I think I'm going to try to plan the next half of the year, is having a little bit more detailed in the actual percentages of each piece that I have. Like, I like the stocks that I have, but I couldn't tell you my 32% tech and 16% consumer staples. I know that Verizon pays a 6.19% dividend. So I believe they're going to be around for a while. So that's why I own it. Do I look at it and go, oh, wow, I'm short telecommunications? I'm not that detailed, but I want to be a little bit more that way, because I do feel like there's areas I'm missing right now, especially like some natural resources, uranium, and some different things that I want to look at. But that's part of my other reason, is I have to be pretty detailed there to make sure that I don't have any liquidation problems.
Okay, just from this last 20 sentences that you just said, I can already tell that you're far more into this than the average person walking down the street. So one, where's that interest come from? And two, where do you learn about this? Because obviously into finances and money and investing. And I have to say, you're definitely getting into the weeds more than I am. And you're looking at different investment, not just categories, ways to go about investing. So where does that all come from?
That's a good question. I'm reading this phenomenal book right now called Range. And what it basically taught, the book is how to be a generalist in a specialized world. And I think that's what Melissa and I are both really good at. We've never been scared to take a turn if it's going to expand our range later. And I came from a finance background. I was a tennis player. Then I went and worked at Morgan Stanley, realized that is not for me. So I opened a tennis club. And then that was a few years of my life. Then so it was a lot of moves that brought me there. And I think the big thing with finance for me is, I believe you're basically storing your energy in cash, is what most people are doing. They go out and work, and the energy they put out is, most people accept cash for that. That's what they want to do. And if you know anything about inflation, it's probably not a great asset to just put on your desk and say, hey, this gold bar is going to be different in a year. Cash usually isn't that way. It's never that way. So I've always been interested in just continuing to make that dollar do something for me. And I already did it to earn it. Now, what are you going to do for me now, cash? And that's sparked a lot of things. I think the options are basically just contracts. And I don't want to get too nerdy, like you said, into the weeds, but if I own 100 shares of a stock that doesn't pay a dividend and it's not doing anything, then what's it doing for me? So one of the ways I've learned from there is to be able to use that asset to be able to also create income from that. So I've always been intrigued by just having what you call the name of this podcast, different ways and different levels of income coming in. I have my everyday, what I do, which is coach. I have as silly things as I'll in the spring walk down the street and clip hydrangeas. And then, man, I know she's embarrassed, but not embarrassed.
I'm telling you, he will drive on the side of the road. So one thing that you're famous for is like when a yard sale is over, like when somebody has a yard sale for the weekend, right? And then you're left with the stuff that you didn't sell. Oftentimes they put it out for trash. And Gary will like just be driving and he'll be like, we'll pull over to the side of the road, and he gets out and it's like just this stuff and it's out for trash. And he'll just go and get something that to me looks like this broken, janky, who would want that? And every time he'll put it on Facebook Marketplace or somewhere and he sells it every time. Like the things that you can sell, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, my friend said, but Gary's so charismatic. That's why he can sell anything. I'm like, I don't think it's that. It may be that, but you're doing it faceless on Facebook Marketplace. So I don't even think it's that.
Yeah.
You have some juju around you.
I think it's from your marketing background. You always say you put one Instagram post and it's not doing anything. Like, what's the thing you say? Like, how many times somebody have to see something? Usually
Like
it's
at
7 times.
least 7 times.
So, what I think is when I drive by a yard sale like that and I see a fish tank out there, I just think the right person who's really looking for a fish tank didn't drive by this yard sale. So there's somebody out there that is looking for that thing. They just didn't have this opportunity. Because I know I've been there. I know I just got a keyboard yesterday off a Facebook Marketplace. When I was picking it up, the lady's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're taking it. I was going to put it in the trash." And I was like, that was so frustrating to me because I'm like, I could have got it for free. But also, I'm that other guy on the other side who was willing to pay $50 for the keyboard because I was really looking for it. So I just always think about there's somebody's out there that could actually use that thing. And it's amazing. I just sold Melissa's Bluetooth keyboard for the same amount she paid for it 2 years ago.
Yes. Like you could go on Amazon right now and order that same keyboard and pay less than what he sold it for used on Facebook Market. This is what I'm talking about. I don't know what it is.
But the lady loved
I,
it.
I hope that person is not listening to the podcast right now.
She was really happy. She lives way out in the
Keyboard.
Yeah, it was.
Just didn't know maybe that you could acquire it on, and I didn't know how much he put it up for to even know how much to tell him to charge. But listen, my husband's a confident man.
Okay, let's talk about this though, because I know for a fact you're busy coaching, and we're going to get into that later. Don't turn off the podcast. He's going to talk about pickleball, which is probably going to put our ratings through the roof because nobody cares about money, but they all care about pickleball. So you've got that, which I know you're busy doing. You've got your investments that are creating some drip, trickles, flows, and floods, right? So why go make a few bucks selling something that you find on the side of the road?
I don't know what else I would do. I just feel like I'm not like a guy who like watches the game on a Sunday, or it just bores me. Like, I just feel like I'm being distracted away from something. I'd much rather get on ChatGPT, for example. ChatGPT helped me start a finance club. One of my buddies, who was one of my lessons, just got her I forget what it's called, the personal finance, where she can help people with their finances. I forget the exact term for it, but so she just got certified in that, and she knew I was in an industry that she didn't know a lot about. She works for a corporation who buys stocks and bonds and things, and they're not allowed to trade derivatives with their clients' money. It's very risky, they say. So I went on ChatGPT and started saying, like, how do you create a finance club? How do we know we're in the right space? This is the right person that I should be doing this with. And so I've just always been more like, I don't read fiction, even though Melissa tells me it'll make me a better writer. I don't want to waste my time doing anything that's not going to increase my range, as that book talks about. It's just so many hours in the day, and there's so many things to learn. And that excites me, because then when I walk down the street and I see something else, it creates another opportunity. I'm the least materialistic person. My friends say that all the time. They're like, "Hey, do we have to start a GoFundMe to get you some shoes?" I will wear shoes out. It's bad, but I enjoy it. If it's money, if it's coffee beans, I don't care. Whatever somebody else will take. I just enjoy that hunt of turning something into something, whether it's anything. That's part of why I enjoy coaching as well. I just love watching the feedback I get from the people, the investment that I put into them and the investment they're putting into their game. I love that. So yeah, I don't know if that really answered your question, but yeah.
Let's talk about two things. I want to get into the finance club, but I think that's a cool thing we can talk about. But the other thing is what you said there was the time, right? Is I hear so often there's these people that like, they just can't get ahead. They just can't make enough. They can't progress past this point. And they go, I can't do that. My time's worth too much. I'm worth X about an hour. How much are you getting paid while you're watching Netflix? How much are you getting paid while you're doing this? And I love the fact that, yeah, your hourly rate might be lower than if you're coaching or if you're trading options or whatever you're doing. Maybe that time exchange for money isn't as good if you're picking up something on the side of the road. Maybe it's way better. It probably varies. But it's kind of who cares, right? Like, when I write these articles, everybody's, you get paid a lot for that? And I'm like, no, I don't get paid a lot for that, but I enjoy doing it, and it still pays me, and it all adds up and it all compounds. And I think that's a real valuable thing that that you're saying, and you got to have that hustle. Unless you're smart enough to invent some app, you got to have that hustle. And it might come from a variety of different places. So I think that's awesome that you're.
So like, for an example, like I go do clip these hydrangeas, right? So I just walk down, don't tell my neighbor. It's not a big deal, but I clip them. So I got 10 on my front lawn. I sell them for $10 a piece on Facebook Marketplace. It's $100. But you know what I also did? I learned about fertilizer and pH in the soils. So now my garden is better. So that means I get to eat more, which means I don't have to go to the grocery stores more. So it was my intention to be a better gardener? No, it was just not being distracted by the fifth season of Mad Men and saying, I'm going to walk down the street and just clip this. And everybody needs leisure time. They need to do what they do. I get it. But even when I'm in leisure time, I'm trying to find something that is of value. Even if I'm watching a video on YouTube, I'm like, why is this making me watch? What are they doing? I believe there's what he talks about in that book, Range, is sometimes you go off your path, but as long as your range is going to be better in the future, it's a good choice. If it's going to give you more options. I bought this keyboard from this young woman yesterday. She was probably like in her mid-20s, and she was moving. And I said, where are you moving to? And she said, Oregon. I'm like, that's so cool. What are you doing? She said, I'm going to go work on this farm. I said, well, what are you going to do? And she said, well, I don't really know, but the first thing I'm doing is a roofing project. If anybody knows anything about roofing, that is not going to be replaced by AI. So how big is her range going to be when she's done? She's going to be able to put up a shed. She doesn't even know where it's going. She doesn't know what's going to happen after that. But to me, that's a good choice to be able to say, hey, after this, I'm going to have more than when I started. And that's what I believe in, is just trying to increase your skills. And hopefully those skills keep leading to more opportunities because you're able to solve more problems. It's good to be a generalist.
That's good stuff. All right. Tell us about your finance class. What happens at a finance class? Why would somebody want to be in a finance class?
Yeah. So our finance club is fun. It's my buddy Amy.
Club.
Yeah. And it started because we would always talk about the stock market, and she was trading a little, but she was one of those ones that would pick like a dollar stock that was getting ready to do earnings. And she'd put $1,000 on, and it didn't matter if it went up or down. It just did. And then you're stuck holding a stock, and now it's shit. I have $1,000. Sorry, guys. I don't know what the long-term plan was. So I explained to her kind of what I do, and she was intrigued by that. And she said, hey, can we get together? And we started meeting every Thursday. And then we got together and we were talking about the market, but we weren't actually doing anything like together. So that's when I went on ChatGPT. I mean, it's an unbelievable tool to be able to I asked it to ask me questions. I said, hey, I want to start a finance club. This is what my friend and this is when we're going to meet. This is what we're doing. How can you help us create a game plan for a 2-hour session? And so now we talk a little bit about the market. We talk about what we've done. We both bring an educational opportunity. So usually I'll bring something about options, and she'll bring some of her stuff that's more managing money, maybe helping people with a tax thing or an HSA account or something like health savings account. So we'll both spend about 10 or 15 minutes bringing some type of educational opportunity. And if it turns into more, it's great. And then at the end, we just have a general conversation if there's anything else that we want to talk about. And that's where we're at right now. Most of the time for her, it's a lot more about the education, and which is great. Like, she's not in a hurry to move fast. And it's nice to have somebody that's like at your nerd level. I could walk up to most people and talk about this kind of stuff, and they're like, what are you even talking about? I have no idea even what inflation is. I've heard it on CNBC, but I don't really know. But when you start talking to people about what the Fed decision is going to be, and, oh man, did you hear what happened in Jackson Hole? And she's like, and you get excited, like, wow. So I also just be surrounded with people that have that kind of high nerd level. So that's primarily what we do. We don't currently, and it's something that I want to do more in the future, we don't have a nest egg of like $50,000 for our investment club. And then we look at opportunities. It's something I definitely want to do, especially right now. I want to learn a little bit more about private money lending. So if anybody out there is a private money lending expert, please reach out. I'd love to talk with you. or they would
I've
like
got
to
one.
have.
Maybe we'll bring him on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the other thing. So that's where I would like to have it be, where it is more of a think tank and trying to find investments, because I don't know. I don't know a lot. I know what I know, but I don't know a lot and about different markets. And I think it's important to stay in your niche. When you start getting a little too broad with the stock market, it's a lot to keep track of. So we plan to do more of that in the future. And she's just growing her portfolio there at the company too. So that's a main focus for her right now. And it's been fun. It's definitely been fun to not feel like you're just sitting at home by yourself in front of charts. It's like somebody else is, oh yeah, that's exciting and fun.
Because I'll be watching the fifth season of Mad Men and not talking about the chart.
Okay, Melissa, Gary's nerding out on all these finances.
Okay.
He's getting in the weeds. How much do you two discuss this stuff? How much do you dive into it?
I discuss it, but
That's it.
she pretends to listen really well. She's very supportive. I will say that for sure.
Listen, I'm supportive. I have my people I like to follow and dabble with in this space, like in the finance space, but I don't go as deep as him. And I also think, like, I'm in a creative career, right? As you are as well, Tony. And so things like watching a season of television is actually my career. Like, I wouldn't even have this career if I didn't do it. For me, that isn't just, yes, it's zoning out on the couch and watching with popcorn, which I love, but also I have to do it because if I go into a meeting and they're like, what, oh my God, this happened in the fifth season of Mad Men and I don't know, they're going to be like, who are you and why do you have this career? So I need to be on top of all the pop culture and TV movies, etc. So there's like an intent on that end too. But I think as far as us like talking about it, no, I always listen, but I definitely don't contribute to the conversation at that level. That's like the thing that you geek out about, and I geek out about different things. But that's why it's so cool to have. I like that he has this finance club with his friend Amy, and I know you've had a couple other people express maybe they'd want to come because yes, it can end up being an investment pod at some point, but I think the magic of it is that you have this container where you can discuss topics with people who are also as equally interested in those topics, right? And that can happen with other people. It doesn't all need to be contained in the house, right? So like obviously you need an outlet for that. And obviously I don't want to only talk about spreadsheets and whatever options trading.
And what Melissa's superpower is research. So if you
Like I'll be in Wall Street bets, getting all the like all the dirt, like all the tea. But I come at it more from that space. I'm like, look at what everybody's freaking out about today, like this stock and this. So I like that part, and I like to find companies, and
yeah,
like I found DraftKings.
I bought that. It's
like pop culture podcast because they were a commercial on there, and I'm like, this is interesting. Do you think this could be a stock? And then he does the real research.
Yeah, I mean, we were in at like $7 and it's up to 50 now. That was just a random thing that she found on Wall Street Bets. And one of my buddies is a prop trader in New York. And I told him, and he was like, wait, what is this? And we just started chitting. Again, he's another one. He's not in my finance club. He's way more successful than us and like crazy positions he takes. But that's, I think what we do well as a team is I'm not expecting her to do anything and she's not expecting me to do anything. It's just, we just naturally fell into that. And it didn't even happen. Hey, you're going to research and I'm going to do this and make sure you put the trade on after I do this. And it's more like just the conversation. Oh, hey, I heard about like Intel. When Intel was getting ready to replace their CEO, I was thinking to myself, wow, we got a new president. This person's here. This chips. I wonder if they're going to get somebody that's from the PayPal guys or whoever. So then she started digging into all these groups and finding out and blah, blah, blah. And between the two of us, next thing you know, we bought at 19 and it's up to 25 today. So it's a teamwork thing. She brings me the insights. Then I look at what positions, because even if you take a trade, there is more than one way to take a trade. Most people just buy and hope it goes up, or they understand shorting and hoping it goes down. There's 10 different ways to make that same trade if you want to be directional. And that's what I do. Saying, hey, like I was talking to my personal financial statement, maybe I put on a big position and we only have $10,000. I can't buy 100 shares of a $100 stock right? So I have to be able to come up with another creative way to figure out what can I do here to put on that same position. So I think that's what we do well as a team. And that's what Melissa, I think, has learned a lot from this podcast is how often people don't talk to each other about their finances. I think it's just so important to be able to understand, like, I don't expect her to do anything and she doesn't expect me to do anything. We just like to do what we do and it worked. And I don't think you can plan that, but for our investments in equities and stuff, it's really been great teamwork. Yes. Good for a high
We're
five.
a good team. We're completely opposite skill sets.
Okay, let's talk about your main flow because I think yes, all this stuff. Yes, you went to school for finance. Yeah, you're a nerd, whatever. You're also a jock, man. And because this guy has mopped me all over the tennis and pickleball court. I'm going to beep him a little bit because I've been coaching a variety of different sports, currently in a season right now for over 20 years. The way that Gary explains things is unbelievable. He tells you the how and the why, and it's really fun to watch him coach. He occasionally, when he's shorthanded or something, he'll invite me into the room and let people hit pickleballs at me. So let's talk about that though. Like, what a unique way to make a living, to have a flow. So one, tell us, how'd you get into coaching pickleball and what does that world look like?
Yeah. So coming from, like I mentioned, right after college, I was done playing tennis and I worked at Morgan Stanley and I just realized it was not for me to wear a suit and sit in an office all day. So I opened a tennis club and I was a high performance coach for 20 years. We had 3 indoor courts. I worked with the USTA guiding careers of some very young, promising juniors. And then we moved to the West Coast and I was into tennis, but I wasn't coaching as much. I started to find some other revenue streams and things that were interest to me. And then when we moved from Napa to LA, I found a couple friends that I made a couple friends that were good tennis players, that guys that played at like Stanford and USC. And I was like, oh, wow, these guys can hit balls. Like, these are good guys. So I got really back into tennis again. And then one of the guys ran the high performance program at the club for the juniors. And he knew that I was hitting with one of my friend's kids, and he was also teaching them. And they came in a couple times and were like, hey, my friend said this. And he was like, oh, wow, that's good. Who's your friend? And they asked me to come have a meeting. So then I started working there and as helping him direct the high performance program there. And then I did that for a few years. And then we moved to Bellingham, and the hotbed of tennis wasn't as much. I wasn't dialed into it. And one of my friends actually how we introduced Bird, introduced me to you. He said, hey, you got to meet this other guy. And he had a court at his house, an indoor court. And I went, and first time I ever played pickleball. I was good, quick. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just had the racket skills. And then I kind of just stopped really playing tennis because I didn't really have anybody to play with. It's not the same. Then we started connecting, and I knew you played tennis. So we would hit, but it just snowballed. I just started getting a little better and focusing a little bit more on the game and just trying to understand the chess pieces of what's the objective here? What are we trying to accomplish? And what are the skills that are needed to accomplish the objective? And started breaking it down like tennis. And a friend would say, hey, can you help me with this or help me with that? And it just kept getting busier. And then all of a sudden I went from playing 3 hours a day to now coaching 3 to 7, 8 hours a day. And it's just like investment. I just love investing in people. It's just something that it just brings me so much joy when I watch somebody get something they couldn't do before or believe they couldn't do it. And now they're just like, whoa, it's really that simple. I'm like, yeah, it's really that simple. You just got to have the little pieces or the little steps. So that's been that. And then a couple clubs. I moved here at the right time. A couple indoor clubs started opening, and they heard about me and were like, hey, do you want to come work? And it just kept getting busier and busier. And now it's been about 3 years and doing a few hundred hours a month.
All right. What's one tip for someone to improve their pickleball game?
I think the hardest people, one of my mentors, one of the best tennis coaches in the country, Jose Higueras, had one of the best, most influential quotes to me ever. And it was, the game is learned, and it's tennis, any game is learned with your hands, your feet, and your eyes, but it's played the opposite. And that's the problem, is that you have to start to see things so that your feet can take you there so that you can hit the ball. And it's really hard to, in the moment, see all of those pieces moving and make choices. So what I always tell my students is, commit to your choice and we'll talk about the outcome later. I want you to try to see things on the court and make a definitive choice of why you're doing it. And if it's wrong, or if something could be better, I don't ever say wrong. I think there's things that are, it's not wrong or right. It's could be better. There could be a better choice. So I think that's the biggest thing, is really learning how to use your eyes so they can tell your feet what to do so that your hands are not always in a panic. I watch so many people just panic around the court because they're running with, movement without vision is chaos. I watch it every single day. People just running. Why'd you move there? I have no idea. Okay. So it's, that to me is my biggest, I think I try to get through people, is try to see the game through your eyes and then use your feet and your hands.
I think that club movement without vision is chaos to work for so many things. That's not just athletics. That's like business. That's or just in general.
Oh, totally. I've had people say that to me a lot. Oh yeah, it's a good way to live life. I'm like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much now. And then there's a new club that just.
Well, and I think you are living life that way a little bit, right? With, what was the name of the book? Range. And just the fact that you are seeing what you're doing. You're making conscious decisions about your actions. And you're that way on the court, right? Where I have not beat that tennis out of my system. So I'm always in the wrong position on a pickleball court. I move far too much, kind of a thing. And even though you say it to me multiple times, I haven't executed on that yet. You're just very methodical. And I think you move through life that same way. And it doesn't mean, methodical doesn't have to mean slow. You can still move explosively. You can still move with intention, but knowing what you're doing. So just like you said, to see it before you go. That's a pretty cool way to think about sport or finance or business or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you with real estate. You can walk in a house in 2 seconds and realize, because you spot the patterns. You've been there before. You see a front door that's crooked and you realize, oh, geez, the foundation is jacked up. These are things that I see unconsciously that just go through my mind. And another thing I think what you said is great, is it's amazing with a couple little steps how fast you can really make a big step. And I think that's what people always feel like, they got to make big steps. When you chunk together little skills, if it's building towards a big skill, you'll be amazed at the end. You'll be surprised when you get there. That's right now, when I went to study with this coach in Vancouver, is an unbelievable coach. And he gave me this trilogy of books to read, and it really sparked me more as a coach. I started then learning, I'm like, I got to get back into the piano again, because it's going to make me a better coach, learning how to chunk the behaviors together. Because I could easily sit down and just start hitting keys, but where's it really taking me? How do I know when I'm done at this 15 minutes? Was the objective done? I'm going to either be better with my finger positioning or understanding music theory. What is it? Because if I just do this thing today, is it really adding on to what I'm going to do tomorrow? And I think when people really break the pieces down small, when you get to the end, you're like, holy wow, all those little things led up to that one big move. And it doesn't always have to be a big move. I think people want a big move, but the little moves are great. I'm a big believer in chunking pieces together, looking at the big thing and then trying to chunk it down.
Yeah, I'm just started new season, junior high cross country. And so we have them run a lap, and then we go through our warm up exercises, and then maybe they run a half a mile, and then we have them walk a lap. And some of the kids are, well, I just want to sprint. And I'm like, A, they signed up for the wrong sport. B, you're 4 days in here. You can sprint for this far. And I see you walking all the time, and trying to chunk together those little pieces so that by the first race, they can run the whole thing. That's step one, right? And then by the end, that they're getting some personal records throughout and keep improving throughout the season. And yeah, just that idea of, it's in my book, it's 1% infinity, where every day you're just trying to get that 1% better. Every single day, just that 1% better. And it really does add up, where I've seen all these people where it's like, oh, I got to do all these things. And then it's like drinking from a fire hose. You go, oh, it's overwhelming. And so they just do nothing instead of just doing one little thing that would move them forward.
Now, you know the famous Ann, who is 78 and whoops up when you come to the drill. Everybody knows Ann. Ann is the snappiest dresser. She's what we all want to be when we're 80. She's still running lobs down. And to go back with what you said earlier is like, she was a retired teacher and she was a sex ed teacher, and she's got some hysterical jokes out in California. But one of the things she said to me, and I didn't even realize it was doing it, she goes, I really love that you follow the what, why, how philosophy. I'm like, first off, what the heck is that? And she goes, you tell us what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're going to do it. And that's it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I do that. And it wasn't like something I learned in the USTA where sit down, this is how you break it down. We just did it. And I just saw what the other guys were doing. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I just followed along with it. But I think that's a huge piece. Like when somebody sits down, what am I actually doing here? Why am I doing this? And now how do I do it? And I think if you follow that, you'll stop drinking from the fire hose, because you'll stop yourself before you. It's very easy to go fast down the wrong road. One of my coaches used to say that you can go really fast down the wrong road. So follow that philosophy, follow the and philosophy, and it will, I think, keep it the smaller pieces for sure.
That's some good stuff, Gary.
Anne's a genius.
Anne's like, we should have Anne on our
Oh my God.
podcast. She's like the epitome of drip, trickle, flow, flood, but because of like her retirement years or what we all aspire to, she just knows how to live life and have fun.
That's been the most fun part. Like coming from a high performance tennis background, I'm usually dealing with people that were like our age. So I'm like 25, the people are like 45, they have a kid and they're still trying to figure out life. Now I have guys like your dad who started an incredible company, passed off. It's wow. Like I talk to those people like Ann, and it's so inspiring to be like, what did you do today? Yeah, I played pickleball this morning, then I have 18 holes of golf. Then I think I have line dancing tonight. And it just makes me go, yeah, I want that. I want to just wake up and go, I don't know what I'm doing after I'm done pickleball. Could be lunch, could be the driving range. So that, like you said, that 1%, how could I get 1 more percent smarter today so that I can be Ann when I'm 80 and just be like,
And it also gets us in the gym with a personal trainer, because we're both 46 and we're like, we need to keep moving. So when we're 75, we can do all these activities.
yeah, your dad moves around the court. I don't know what I know he's always been physical, bike riding and stuff, but man, you watch these people, 70 is not what 70 used to be.
He's always moved. That's the thing. Yeah, he bikes. He's big into cycling. He used to be a runner until he wrecked his ankle, but it's not even, those things help. Those things matter, but it's more, he just never stops moving. He's moving a hay bale around and he's working in the garden. He's building a fence. He's cleaning out the chicken coop. He's turning a wood bowl.
I was just going to say, turning a wood bowl.
She's like nonstop. It used to have beehives. He used to have whatever it is. He doesn't just sit around and let his body melt. He just keeps moving, and it's important. It's easy to get pretty lethargic and sit around, and then the more you sit, the harder it is to get up. Where if you never stop moving, I guess your body just thinks it's supposed to move.
It's a great example of the drip, trickle, flood, and flow. There's days where he floods with exercise, and there's days where he trickles, where it's just putzing around the yard, and you'd be amazed carrying just a 20-pound bag 50 feet down the driveway. And then while you're there, you do 10 squats to pick up a stick, and it all adds up. And whether it's information or physical fitness, just keep adding the little pieces.
I love that. This is definitely, or is a financial podcast we've been doing, but I think doing a drip, trickle, flow, flood for health, that's fun. I like that a lot.
Tony's going to have 30 podcasts.
Gotta get that trickle.
Thank you for coming on, honey. I know you got a good pickleball.
Yeah. Anything else?
Joining us.
I'm liking this now. I can be late.
You can come. Okay.
Just kidding.
Talking where we can have you back.
Yeah, that too. Both.
Thanks for coming on, Gary.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And you guys are doing great work bringing financial information to people. It's super powerful. For me, I guess I just want to close with this. For me, money is about choices. It's a Friday afternoon and I get to choose what I want to do today. And that's not a materialistic, I need to have a certain amount of money. I want to be able to control my life. And if I want to take my wife out to lunch at 1 o'clock on a Friday, I want to be able to do that by doing other things. And so just keep learning. I know it's intimidating. The words are big, and in finance, especially, a lot of the things mean the same thing. It's like, why do you have 3 words that mean the same thing? It can be a little confusing, but just keep dripping, trickling and flooding the flow the information in, and keep asking yourself, what am I doing here? Why am I doing it? And how am I going to do it? You'll be amazed at the progress people will see for sure.
And
That
so,
made it
so
take me out
listeners
to-
know, when I came up with this idea, Gary is one of the first person I talked to about that. And he goes, that's a cool idea. And when I brought it up to Melissa, she goes, yeah, we've been doing that for the last couple years. And so that's how this all came to be a little bit. Yeah. It's cool that, now
All
that.
right, I guess I'm getting taken out to lunch at 1 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
You all
Nice
heard it
Friday.
here.
Yeah, recording on a Friday.
You heard it first.
Please follow up when this episode comes out that happened.
Please comment. Guess where we went.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And if you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review. And we'll see you next time on Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood.